show us your glory. Show us your glory.
All right, who is excited to be here? And by here, I mean wherever you are. Are you pumped? If you're excited, tell the person with you. It's going to be a great day. If you're not with anybody, grab your phone right now and text somebody and say, I'm listening to some incredible worship, and I want you to know it's going to be a great day. Come on, grab your phone, text somebody. Maybe you're on your phone, slide out, slide in, text, do your thing, pop up, whatever you got to do. You know what? And text somebody and tell them it's going to be a great day, because I believe it is. I'm excited for what God is doing right now. And I'm wondering, I got a question for you. For any person that has had a car, owned a car, driven in a car, what else? That pretty much covers a lot of people. Most everybody probably watching this has had a car, been in a car, driven a car, owned a car. I'm wondering, have you ever had that moment where the light comes on the dash? Like you're driving and just ding, there's the light. Or like you see it, it's that flashy one with that thing in the middle and those two things on the side, and you're like, oh man, what does that mean? Or like you're driving and it's that one like just solid yellow light. It's like right over here by the gas gauge. Like, what does that light mean? What could it mean over here? It means you're running out of gas. But the light comes on, you don't know, or maybe the light doesn't come on. Maybe you're driving your car and it starts making one of those noises, and you're like, oh man, like what is that noise? Like, do I take it somewhere? Do I just kind of keep going? Like, hey, if it's driving, it's fine, whatever it may be. Or maybe you're driving, and all of a sudden, your tires and wheels just aren't the same as they were. You know what happens is you got to go get an oil change on a regular basis. You got to put gas in your car on a regular basis. You should just clean your car on a regular basis. That's a good thing. You should drive it on a regular basis. But you know what else? You got to make sure that at the right times you rotate your tires and your wheels. It's very important, okay? Because what happens is if you don't rotate your tires on your car, what will end up happening is they'll become misshaped, and all of a sudden your car will start driving crazy. It'll be terrible, and you'll be like, what's going on with my car? My car's breaking. But your car is fine, just the tires that are on it weren't rotated. And so now your car's all out of whack. Maybe you've been in a spot like this. You've had some kind of problems with your car. I don't want to speak and solve all the problems about your car. I want to speak into your soul and solve the problems that are inside there today. But the title that I'm coming from today, write this down, are you ready? Is Back to Balance. Back to balance. Back to balance. Back to balance. Say it out loud. I didn't hear you. Say it again. All right, great. Back to balance is where I want to be. And here's what I know is that I have this for you. Is that this very normal sized tire, joking, this very massive tire, compliments of Central Alps, thank you if you're looking for a great place for tires and wheels. This is a beautiful one right here. Central Alps right there. It's upside down, but great. It'll hook you up, man. They'll put this on your Honda Accord. You'll be looking real fresh. If you are driving, no matter what size car, no matter what size tire, you put a set of wheels and tires on there. Here's the thing. The wheels and the tires come out of the factory, hopefully, perfectly round, perfectly balanced, perfectly symmetrical, right? But then you start driving. And even if you drive right all the time, you do everything right, you turn right, you don't do anything wrong, you can keep these tires all the way balanced, all four of them balanced, they'll be good to go. But as soon as you hit a stick or a pole or a rock or something in the road, or as soon as you've gone 3,000 or 4,000 or 10,000 miles, depending on what kind of car and what kind of tires and wheels you have, there just comes a matter of time when your wheels and your tires are going to be out of balance. And so you know what to do. If you know anything about cars, you call your dad and he tells you, and he says, you got to go to the place, you got to go to Firestone, you got to go to so-and-so, and you got to get your tires and wheels rotated and balanced. And they're going to put little metal things on there, and they're going to make it all right. They're going to hide them. It's going to be beautiful. You're going to get back in your car, and your steering wheel's not going to be wobbling, and it's going to be right and good to go. When you're braking, it's not going to be wobbling. It's going to be great. You're going to be so excited. But here's the thing. That's just your car. For your life, it's the same way. Maybe somewhere along the way it was balanced and it was in order and it was good and it was right, and then you hit a rock spiritually speaking. You hit a stick in the road, you made a swerve and you hit a curb, and something happened in your life that brought you from everything being balanced to now being out of balance. And so now when you make those turns, or when you adjust, or when you're driving down the road, all of a sudden now life's not the same as it was before. And spiritually speaking, I think it's time for us to get back to balance. And I want to show you a very simple way that we can get back to balance during this time that has nothing to do with your real tires and wheels, but has to do with what's happening spiritually inside you. Because tires and wheels can be doing the right thing all the time and still eventually go out of balance. And you could be living God's purpose every single day, doing exactly what God called you to do every single day. But eventually, something's going to come along that's going to knock your wheels out of place, that's going to get you rattled or twisted this way or bumped on the side, that's going to get you out of balance. And if we don't know as a people how to get back in balance, because isn't that life? I mean, there's never just one side. It's always a little bit of this over here and a little bit of this over here, and we're juggling that, and there's this, and you got the kids, and if you drop with the kids, then you got to go, and you got the stuff happening in the kitchen, and then you got to drop this off because you decided to volunteer. You don't know what you were thinking, but you volunteered, you committed, so you're going to try your best to keep it. Then you got to run back over here. You got this work email to do, and it's just all these things we're trying to balance. Oh yeah, I'm a Christian. I want to live for Jesus. I'm trying to balance that too, and I just got all these things that I'm juggling, and it's just a matter of time until we get out of balance. And I want to bring us back to this place where I can show us what happens. In 2 Peter chapter 3, verse 17, it reads this. It says, "Therefore, beloved," I love you guys. I love you. "Therefore, beloved, knowing this beforehand," right? We know beforehand, "take care that you are not carried away with error or lawless people, and you lose your own stability." Take care that you aren't carried away with all the things on social media, with all the opinions, with all the thoughts at your work, with all the thoughts in your family, with all the thoughts in your even own household, maybe even with all the thoughts in your own mind. Take care that you aren't carried away with nonsense and lawlessness and foolishness, that we lose our own stability. And all of a sudden, now we're trying to be stable in our ways, and we don't know how to do it because we've been carried away. You see, the tires at one point were nice, and they were rotating the right way, and they were spinning the right way. Life was going good. It seems like things were firing. I got a new promotion, and then I started to work, and then I got more money, and now here we are. And all of a sudden, why are things out of balance? We got to be careful not to let things get too far out of balance. It just becomes that much harder to bring it back. And I think one of the greatest keys that I feel the Lord just pressing on my heart over these past weeks and these upcoming weeks is pressing the church, the people of God, to pray and to follow Him. And any moment that I start feeling out of balance, any moment that I start feeling my life is beginning to wobble, the first thing and the best thing that I can do is to seek God through prayer. I want to share this very powerful prophetic word from the book and the prophet of Zechariah, chapter 1, verse 3. Okay, this is not just what's happening in the Old Testament. This isn't just happening right there to a certain people that God's leading, but this is a prophetic word moving forward all the way into the church is happening right now. And I want to share this with you because it is so powerful. In this book, the people of God for years and years, and I call them the people of God, it's His chosen people, for years and years have been in captivity and in slavery because they disobeyed God, and He needed to turn their hearts back to Him. And so He sent people to overtake them and to punish them. And here they are, and it's now time to begin to call them out of that. How many of you right now want to be called out of the captivity and the slavery that your own sins and addictions have brought you in? It's time to be called out. And so Zechariah says this, "Therefore say to them, thus declares the Lord of hosts, return to me, says the Lord of hosts, and I will return to you." You know what a great way to get back in balance is? Return back to the thing that matters most. When my tires and wheels are out of balance, I'm not going to go to my own garage and try to figure it out. Maybe you are, but that's not the place that's going to matter most. When my tires and wheels are out of balance, I'm not going to McDonald's and be like, hey, McDonald's, can you get these fixed? And here's the thing. When life gets out of balance, you got to know the right places to go to. And the right place is to the people of God and to God himself. That's where we should go. And so we're turning to God. And what happens when we turn to God? He turns to us. Spurgeon writes a quote, and he says, if you do not pray except when you feel like praying, you'll not pray much. Nor will you pray when you need it the most. My brethren and my sisters, when you do not feel like praying, you ought to pray all the more. And go to the Lord who will help you pray. If I only pray when I feel like it, if I only go get my car taken care of when it never needs it, what's the point? It's the times when the enemy is pressing that I shouldn't pray. It's the times when there is no time to pray. It's the time when there's too much on my mind to pray. There's not enough space to pray. There's not enough room to pray. I don't have enough energy to pray. These are the times that I need to pray the most. These are the times when my life is beginning to spin out of balance, and it's time to bring it back to a place where it's rooted in what matters most, the one true living God. And when I bring it back to him, he brings it back to me. We started off, when we started the church, with an incredible book my wife and I were reading. We gave to our launch team, and we've given to leaders all in our church. It's the Circle Maker book by Mark Batterson. Such an incredible book. It teaches such a powerful heart of prayer. And if you're wondering, how do I energize my prayer life? We talked about prayer just the other week. How do I energize it, though? How do I begin to stir up my prayer life? I need a tool. I need something more. Like, I'm just beginning my faith, or I'm just beginning my prayer journey and learning, how do I talk with God, and how do I hear from him? How do I be consistent with prayer? It's not one thing you throw up, Lord, help me. You just toss it up into the air, and you're like, I don't know what happened with that. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. But I mean, it's the living God who wants to speak back to us, who wants to hear us talk to him. So this book, The Circle Maker, if you don't have a copy, if you haven't read it yet, will you text us right now the number that's on the screen? Will you text it? Go ahead, right there. The number that's on the screen, will you go ahead and text it and just say, I want that book, all right? Just say, I want that book. And we're going to text you right back, and we're going to give you some prompts so we can send you that book for free, okay? Because we want you to have it. We really do. We mean it, and we think it's going to change your life. And so please, would you text the number that's on the screen and say, I want that book? And we're going to say, yes, boom, instructions. It's going to be awesome. It's going to shift you into a whole new realm with your prayers. I want to give you just a few things, though, before you go, some practical ways that we can say, I want to get back to balance. And the first I said is to pray. You're going to text right now. You're going to get the book. That's a great way. Set some reminders in your phone, great ways to pray. But we're going to be praying together Monday, yes, tomorrow, Monday, 7:15 in the morning, meet at Authentic, and 7:15 at night, meet at Authentic, and we're going to pray, do a prayer walk together. It's going to be a powerful time. This is something in the life of our church that we've done every single season during this time, and it's been so powerful. It brings so much growth. It brings so much movement into the kingdom, and it changes the people's lives that are there. And so I want you to come out with us tomorrow, 7:15 in the morning and 7:15 at night, either time, both times. We're going to be walking circles and praying. It's going to be so powerful. That's a practical way, number one, to get back to balance. Practical way, number two, writing it out helps. Sometimes you got to sit down and you just got to write out all the stuff that you're doing. I feel out of balance. I feel like this isn't going how it's supposed to go. This is not how it's supposed to be. Just write it all out. This is what I'm doing, this is what I'm doing, this is what I'm doing. Just get it all out there. Get it on your phone, write it all out. Make a list of all the things, and then identify the things that you're supposed to be doing and the things that are getting you out of balance. Because guess what? Everything you can do is not everything you should do. Come on, we know this. But we end up, what probably happens is when we're living a life that's out of balance, if you're beginning to feel out of balance, that's probably because you're doing more of what you should not do, and you're doing less of what you really should do. All the things God is calling you to, you're probably neglecting, and all the things He's trying to keep you from, you're probably spending too much time on. And so it's just about having balance. Don't get rid of all the Netflix shows. Just don't watch them all day long, right? Don't get rid of every single type of food. You need some type of food, but just choose the right ones and the right portions. These are the things that make us great. We need to have great balance. Write it out and watch that happen. Next thing that'll help you is to set times. Set times for your life. Set times that you're going to do certain things, and then times when you're not going to do certain things. Set times that you're going to rest, and set times that you're going to recharge. Set times that you're going to reflect, and set times that you're going to seek wisdom. This is so important because we set times for all these other things in our life, but what about setting time to make sure that our own life is in balance? And I don't mean like tomorrow you need to decide, I'm taking 5 days off and I need to make sure my life's in balance. Maybe you should, maybe you shouldn't. I don't know. You do you. But here's what I'm saying. We got to make sure we're setting the right times. And I know it's important for me to set times to be in front of the right people. Because when my life begins to feel out of balance, sometimes my marriage can begin to feel out of balance. What's a great thing to do? Go to marriage counseling. Talk it through. Set times to be in front of the right people. When my life is feeling out of balance, reach out to someone that I respect and trust. Share with them. Set time to talk about it. This is important because otherwise our life will be totally crazy. We'll look back we'll be a year from now. We'll look back and we'll say, oh my gosh, I didn't do anything that I wanted to do in 2020. I didn't accomplish any of my goals or any of my vision. God didn't really move in my life. And here's I am. I'm blaming it on God, but really my whole life is out of balance. So how could he be doing anything through me? It'd be a miracle if he did one thing. And so all of a sudden we take it back to that and we begin to let God speak to us, right? We're praying now. We're writing things out and we're seeking the right people, setting times to seek the right people. And all of a sudden, God is beginning to bring our life back into balance. All of a sudden, you can take a wobbly car into the tire shop. Balance. You can take the same exact wheels and tires off the same exact car and just put them in a different order, and you're driving out smooth as butter. You came in wobbling around. How can that be? God can do the exact same thing in your life. He can take the exact same things that are already there. He can shift them around, and you're driving out totally feeling like, wow, he has shifted my life around. And here's how we know that we're living a life that's in balance. Because once we're seeking God and we're praying him, we're going to him first, God begins to put it all back into order. I want to take you to Ephesians Chapter 6. Start around verse 10, and you can read right there. I'm just going to highlight these things for us because here's what I know is when life gets back into balance, Ephesians Chapter 6 says that we have the strength of the Lord. Did you know that? Did you know that when your life is right, when you're doing the things that God called you to do and you're living right, okay, that you have the strength of the Lord. That means when things are coming against you, you're standing firm, not in your own strength, but in God's strength. That you have, it says in Ephesians 6, that you have the power to stand against the schemes of the devil. That means though the devil schemes against us, we can stand firm against him. Why? Because we have the strength of the Lord. Why? Because we're seeking God first. Why? Because our balance is set right. Because we've been seeking God and letting him align us and bring it back to balance. When we're in balance, it's easy to find what is true. So when I'm going around and I'm saying, oh man, I don't know what's true. I don't know what's true. I don't know what's true. The fact of the matter is that we haven't been in the Word of God. Because when we're in the Word of God, it's easy to see what's true. We've been spending time with truth. We know what truth looks like. We've been spending time with truth. We know what lies look like. Our eyes are wide open. We don't have to go around and wonder what is true, what is true, what is true. God himself, truth, is in us, speaking through us truth. When we're balanced in seeking God, he's covering us with righteousness. What a powerful thing. Did you know that you are righteous, not by what you did, but by what God speaks over you? Did you know that the peace of God is there to be all over your life? Did you know that you have a shield that you can pick up anytime? It's the shield of faith. And you can block the darts of the evil one with that. You can block out all the comments that are not meant for you. You can block out all the words that were spoken that were not meant for you. When you're living a balanced life, you don't have to be wobbling around and hoping you make it and maybe I can do it, maybe I can't. You can stand firm in that with your shield and be ready with your faith to block all the things that God does not have for you so your life can be balanced. It can be centered on God, thriving, ready to go. But here's the thing. It might just go out of balance again. This isn't a one-time fix. You're not going to say some prayer today that's going to shift it all around and you're never going to have to pray again. This is relationship with God. This is going to the Father. Ephesians 6 is not just a one-time thing. This verse in Zechariah chapter 1 isn't just a one-time thing. Hey, return to God, and he's always going to be with you, and nothing's ever going to go wrong. No, listen, the tires came out of the factory totally perfect, totally balanced. I had to rotate them after 3,000 miles, and in 3,000 more miles, I'm going to have to rotate them again. Here's the thing. You got to pray just to make it today. That's a song right there. And guess what? Tomorrow, you're going to have to do the same thing. But as we get balanced, it becomes part of the rhythm. We learn how to quickly pick up the shield. We learn how to stand in our righteousness. We learn how to keep peace over our mind. We learn how to speak truth out of our mouth. We learn that the enemy has no place in our life. We begin to learn our life begins to get balanced. Why? Because we're seeking God in prayer. We're learning how to seek after him. And as we spend time with him, not just running our mouth, but also listening to him, he begins to change who we are. And what I want to see is a church rising up, changed, not by the power of flesh, but by the power of the living God. That's what I want to see. And I believe God is raising up right now a people of God all over this nation that are going to boldly speak out and stand up for his truth like never before. That's why I think it's so important that we're reading this book of Zechariah chapter 1, going to it today and saying, when we turn to God, he turns to us. Let's not forget. I love you. I'm praying for you. If you didn't text the number, get that book. Let it change your life. But most importantly, I want your life to come back to balance. Not wobbling on all these different sides, trying to figure it out. But God wants to keep you in balance and in step with him. Let's see that happen this week. I'm believing it for you. I'm praying for you. I love you. We'll see you again soon.
Thank you so much for being a part of this worship experience. And this is what I know. When we get back to balance and make prayer a priority in our lives, God is going to change us from the inside out. So don't forget, if you haven't texted, text us. We want to give you the book. Also, we want you to come and pray with us tomorrow, 7:15 a.m. and 7:15 p.m.
It has been a powerful season through the life of the people of Authentic, and we want to continue to see that happen. We're making a difference all around, so continue to stay faithful with your giving, knowing that it's not just coming to Authentic, but going through Authentic. And we have seen so many incredible testimonies of people stepping out in faith in their giving and God shifting what's happening inside of their life. And so know this, that as you're giving today, as you're going to the Give tab, as you're going to Venmo and giving, that God already in advance is sending something your way, moving, shaking, stirring things up, that your life is going to be different. It's making a difference. It's impacting the kingdom. We love you guys. Thanks so much for joining.